Hello, this is Leroy F. Bennett, and today I'm doing the Citizens Action Series for the Closer Foundation. Now, today you're going to discover the U Street Shaw District. Now, prior to 1960, it wasn't called the Shaw or the U Street District. It was known as Mid City, but it was renamed in honor of the Civil War Colonel Robert Gould Shaw. He was famous for leading a regiment of African American soldiers in battle during the Civil War, and he was later killed in battle. And then they had later renamed it the Shaw U Street District. But during the Civil War, I want to let you know that this area was coexisted economically and racially by both African Americans and whites. And this area also serves as the cultural, social, and economic hub for the African American community in Northwest Washington, D.C. It was so much, as far as unity was together, and recognized as economic center for African America, it actually earned the name of Black Connecticut Avenue. Now, Connecticut Avenue is probably like one of your more busier, more fluent economic hubs in Washington, D.C., somewhat like how Madison or Park Avenue is in New York City. Now, prior to, or just after World War I, and the invention of the streetcar, many of the middle-class whites had been able to go ahead and move out of that area, and the housing segregation laws prohibit many of the African Americans to move into different parts of the city. So all the way up from the post-World War I era all the way up into 1948, the Supreme Court struck down the housing segregation laws and made it constitutional for the African Americans to move into other areas of the city. Some of the middle class people had moved out of that area, but the ones who didn't tended to make it more of a residential and a commercial industry. Residentially, instead of having a single house unit, they made it where it was multifamily dwellings. Henceforth, you see apartments where people live on top of each other. Now, commercially, this area is known for its entertainment. You have the Lincoln Theater and also the Howard Theater, and those areas, two venues, have hosted many great artists, some who happen to be natives of Washington, D.C. themselves. The first one that comes to mind is Washington, D.C. native Edward Duke Ellington. He was one of the opening acts for the Howard Theater, and you also had other acts from Washington, D.C., such as Marvin Gaye, Stacey Lattisaw, and Chuck Brown, who brought a certain type of genre, a new type of genre of music in the 1980s, better known as go-go. And actually, go-go is now the music recognized by the District of Columbia. Not only is this a hub for entertainment and culture, but it's also a hub where you have many political activists over the years have come to visit Washington, D.C. in the Shaw U Street area. These activists also include the likes of one Malcolm X and also Martin Luther King. And also, educationally, it is home to the Howard University, better known as the Howard University Bisons. A lot of people like to call that the real HU. But as you can see, over time, after the riots in '68, the area went down, and then they had grants that were given to help revitalize the neighborhood. And over time, the area has been infused with a new system of economics, which also included the metro rail lines that run through there, and then you also see a whole different generation of white Americans moving back into this area. Now, this area used to be predominantly, I would say, about 75 to maybe 80% African American. As of today, now it is 48% white Americans and about 37% African Americans, and then you have your lower numbers of minorities that live into this area, mainly due to the fact that this area has done because of gentrification, which when an area is built up commercially, real estate values go up, commercial properties go up, and then what they do, they move out people who have been like the pillars of the community. They can no longer afford the rents, and they have to move out. Hopefully that this will give you a good understanding of what has happened to the U Street Shaw District over the years.